Hello, I want to introduce you a new report from Extended Disc, which is called Communication Adjusting Your Style in a Workplace and Virtual Environment. So this new report is a fantastic tool to help you with communication, a more effective communication with people in the workplace and in all the interaction that is happening now online. When you leave a message on the phone, when you write an email, and how do you communicate with people now? Uh, Especially because you don't have this non-verbal communication. No, because communication, like Peter Drucker said, um, I believe you know Peter Drucker. He was a guru of marketing, and he used to say the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. So the famous read between the lines. And how do you read between the lines? You have to recognize patterns. You have to understand the body language, the tone of voice, the how they look, in which direction people are looking, and so now you don't have that anymore. I know for many years we already have a lot of communication online, but not much related to work. So now work, remote work, it's here to stay. So you have to change things, to adapt things. And one thing that has been a lot of struggle is to understand how to make this conversation more effective. So we brought this report to you to help you identify how people can understand you better and how you can understand yourself better and how to communicate and make this interaction to work for a desired outcome. So there are some things that I think is a great tip, which is, do you remember that saying that says, do to others what you like done to yourself? Yeah, there has been a great advice, especially from our moms and grandmothers, and but in fact, communication happens in a different way. I understand the way I was, let's say, forged to understand, and you understand the way you were forged to understand. So, how can we understand each other and make a communication to work in a different way? So, in a way that we can ease that frustration that, when you say, oh, I do my best to communicate with this person, but they just don't get it. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you learn the behavior style of yourself and to others, you will be able to identify who's who in the zoo. Like how can I communicate better with my boss, with my colleague, with my client, with my supplier, or all the stakeholders that are involved in your work or in your life as an entrepreneur, as a corporate employee, or wherever you work, or wherever you relate to. So, to understand these styles, there are some tips that I would like to give you. And the first thing is understand how they talk and what they talk about. What's the tone of voice that they are using? What's the body language if you are looking at them, maybe in a video like this? Or how do they sound? So then you have four basic styles. You have the D dominant, you have E the influencer, you have S the steadiness or stable, and you have the C the compliant. So these four styles are very different among each other, but we all have a little bit of the fourth. So we have to understand how much we have of each. without doing the questionnaire and doing the going through all the process, there are some things that you can identify. For example, you you have the D and the I, which are more active, and you have the C and the S, which are more, let's say, quiet, or would you say slow, maybe, compared to the activity and the speed that the D and the I has. The C and the S are more slow. And there are some facts that they talk about. Actually, the C talks about facts. The D talks about goals and about themselves, about values. The I talk about team spirit, about people, about future. The S talk about agreements, principles, past proof, one's team. And the C, back to the C, talks about the facts, analysis, details, rules, instructions, policies and procedures, etc. So, if you'd like to understand more, you can go on my Instagram and on Facebook. I posted on the stories today, but I saved on the highlights, and you can understand a little bit more about